first. Okay, sit down. Your Honor, Mr. Blandino, against my advice, would like to testify.
All rise. District Court confirms vote is back in session. The Honorable Michelle Leavitt presiding.
State
Be seated.
versus Blandino, case C 341-767. He's present in custody. The attorneys can make their appearances.
Mike Dickerson on behalf of the state, Your Honor. Bar number 13476.
Morning, Your Honor. Joseph Gersten, 13876.
Okay, thank you very much. I did get a copy of your declaration, and it will be, you didn't send an order to seal it, but I will order that it be sealed. You know, and here's the deal, I don't want you to think that I think any of this is okay or condone any of it. I think it's outrageous. I mean, the funk, but here's the thing, it's not unique to you. He will do that to any lawyer that the court appoints. Mr. Bateman, filed a motion to withdraw almost immediately. So I know why he's doing it is to impede and obstruct the court.
I object to that.
So,
That's absolutely not true.
so, I'm gonna deny the motion to withdraw, and, you'll continue to, represent him, but here's the thing, you are permitted to put boundaries and rules in place. If he cannot speak respectfully to your staff, then tell your staff not to take his phone calls. And then that will be his problem if he can't get through to you, because I do not believe that your staff or you should have to take any type of verbal abuse.
I did not do any of that. This is outrageous, Judge.
And
You have no
the
basis.
phone
This is
call-
unfounded allegations.
And the phone call to the jail is literally beyond. And I'm assuming that the jail and the COs have taken appropriate action pursuant to that.
I don't know, but I hope so. I don't know.
Am I allowed to see this document where these allegations are being made or not?
I'll decide when we're done with the hearing.
Listen, Judge, I have the right to know what the nature of these proceedings are. I know there's a motion to imprison me. I have the right to
Yeah.
know my rights in these proceedings. Am I gonna be allowed to testify or to
Sure.
refuse to testify?
Sure.
If this is a
You have
probation
the right
revocation hearing,
to testify or refuse to testify. That's correct.
if this is a motion to revoke probation, or a probation revocation hearing, then I'm entitled to know what I'm being charged with violating which conditions. And I have been served with nothing. As far as I know, my counsel that's being forced upon me here has not been served with anything. That's what Specialist Duque has talked to Duque for 30 minutes on 2 separate occasions. And she said that no one has been served with a probation violation report.
And Your Honor, that is true. We have not received any violation reports. One was filed with the court, and I can't access it. It's a sealed document or something.
I will make sure you get a copy of it. 1 or 2 copies. 2.
And I need to make a record here. Gagnon
Okay,
versus
you are
Scarpelli.
not going to make a record, you're represented by counsel, so there's no need to make a
There
record.
is no right to counsel at a probation revocation hearing. That's clear. Gagnon versus Scarpelli, 93 Supreme Court,
Okay, but you've been
1756.
denied the right to represent yourself.
Those are wrong, Judge. Toss those. Those are all bad. I'm printing the correct one right now. You can toss that whole stack.
Oh, okay, sure.
So if he is representing me and he's being forced to represent me, why can't I consult with him right now? I can give him some pertinent information.
You can.
Well, can I go by his side or can he come over here?
Do you want him to sit at council table with you?
Honestly, Judge, it's your courtroom, whatever you would, if you'd rather me go over here,
I don't know how I can assist him from
So
here.
do you mind? Okay, he
I'd
can
like
sit
that.
at council table with Mr.
Yeah, that's fine.
Kirsten.
Can I have one arm freed from these cuffs? So that I can write properly.
Mr. Mr. Dickerson, you have a copy, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Marshall, here's a copy each for Mr. Gersten. There's two right there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you very much.
I did, that is not what is on today. What is on is the revocation, it is not your claim for no representation.
That's not, it just states that. I don't have no right to counsel. What about one person state? She has to do an inquiry of both you and I as to communication and how it's broken down. That's very clear.
She just denied,
I understand, but she's not doing a proper inquiry. You need to make a record on this, Joe, that she's violating one versus state.
If I may, Your Honor,
Sure.
my client has asked that I make a record that you are violating Young versus State and not conducting an appropriate inquiry as to the communication between my client and I. So I want that to be on the record, please.
It's on the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there probation violation report? Can we see this? If I'm gonna take the stand, I have to know what I'm going to do, but, oh, one other thing. Under, because there's parallel proceedings going in the justice court.
Mr. Blandino, go ahead and read the report, because we're gonna begin.
Under Kentucky
So-
versus state.
Take the time now, or else we're just gonna start.
Okay. Yeah, it is the first opportunity I've had to look at this.
Okay.
So it looks like it mirrors the
And
justice
please
court.
don't read it out loud, just read it to yourself.
Mm. She didn't have it at first. She-
Mr. Dickerson, you have your witnesses here?
I do, Your Honor.
That report has been done and sent to them.
Your Honor, if I may, just a small
Sure.
housekeeping
No
matter.
problem.
Obviously, Mr. Blandino, for the reasons that he's here, there's a parallel proceeding occurring in Justice Court Department 2 with Judge Sacento. So we would object to moving forward on this under a due process argument, as it is a parallel proceeding, it's already going, he has a Fifth Amendment right in that proceeding, he has a right to a preliminary hearing, and all of those reasons that this particular hearing is untimely. It may be appropriate at a later date, but until that is determined, I believe he should have the opportunity to defend himself in that matter before this matter proceeds.
What charges were filed in Justice Court? Because I know there were
There were
traffic
three, Your Honor,
citations.
there were three charges. It
Okay.
was failure to have a driver's license, failure for registration, not having registration, and the third, which is really the reason we're here today, is the possession of documents purporting a false identity. Do we have that right, Mr. Dickerson?
That's right.
Yeah.
And to note, Your Honor, pursuant to Cooper v. State, that's 134 Nevada 399 from 2018, the probation revocation hearing and the testimony that the defendant will give is in this or against him in those other proceedings. So he has his full rights here. There's no issue at hand.
I agree with counsel on that. I found that case myself, Cooper versus State, only for
Right,
impeachment or
so do
rebuttal
you
purposes.
oppose a continuance until afterwards?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm gonna, allow the state to proceed today. But Mr. Blandino, you understand that anything you testify to in this hearing, cannot be used against you in your other cases in justice court?
Except for impeachment or rebuttal under Cooper versus State. That's 134
Okay.
Nevada 399.
Well, then you already know, so,
Yeah,
all right.
only for
Are
those
we ready
limited
to
purposes.
call the first witness?
I-
I just wanna make sure
Yeah, oh, yeah,
that you
sure.
had an opportunity to read the report and all that.
we'll,
Okay, you all can have a seat.
okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you,
You
Mr.
too.
Dickerson, absolutely.
Thank you.
You may call your first witness.
We'll call Officer Martinez.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You may be seated. Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
First name is Cynthia, that's Cynthia. Last name Martinez, Martinez.
Thank you, How are you employed, ma'am?
I'm an officer with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department.
And what's your assignment?
I'm a patrol officer, I work downtown.
Okay. Were you working in that capacity as a police officer in downtown for the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department on September 16th, 2022?
Yes, that's correct.
I apologize, Your Honor, I really do. Mr. Blandino is requesting have a hands-free to write. He had asked, I don't know what your thought on that is.
Well, the officer is indicating,
No, that's against our policy.
okay,
Thank you.
all right, go ahead.
Thank you. Around 7:46 PM that evening, did a call or a police action occur which brings you here to testify today?
Yes, a traffic stop.
And can you tell the court about that traffic stop and how it originated?
My partner and I were traveling eastbound on Bonanza. We observed a white Ram truck on the westbound lanes on Bonanza, just east of Bruce. The truck was stopped at close to an intersection, and the driver was outside of the truck trying to get the attention of the driver in the number 3 lane. So we thought that was a bit odd to stop in the middle of the roadway. We conducted a stop for stop stand park where prohibited.
So do you see that the person who was associated with that Dodge Ram truck here in the courtroom today?
Yes, that's correct.
If you could please identify that person and indicate by pointing and identifying the police's clothing.
Yes, the male in the navy blue shirt.
Okay, the record can reflect the identification of the defendant, Your Honor.
So reflected.
And so to understand this correctly, the Dodge Ram truck that was actually parked in a travel lane.
Yes, in the number 2 lane.
Okay, and the defendant, Mr. Blandino, was standing outside of that truck in a travel lane as well.
Correct. He was beside the driver's side of the car in the number 3 lane.
And what was he doing?
He was waving his arms. It appeared like he was waving his arms. It appeared like he was trying to get the attention of the driver in that car. His arms were very animated. When he saw us, he quickly got into his truck and began westbound again on Bonanza.
Okay, so he enters that Dodge Ram truck once he sees you guys?
Yes,
And are you wearing a uniform and in a marked patrol vehicle?
yes, that's correct.
And at that point in time, did you happen to see the license plate of the truck?
Yes, the truck had a Montana license plate on it.
Okay, and so at that point in time, did you conduct a traffic stop on Mr. Blandino in that Dodge Ram?
Yes.
And then what occurred?
I made contact with him on the driver's side. My partner made contact on the passenger side. I advised him the reason for the stop. I asked for his registration, his license, proof of insurance. I asked why he stopped in the middle of the roadway, because it's unreasonable to stop in the middle of the roadway. And
Is there anything during this particular initial contact that you and your partner or your partner noticed about the defendant's truck?
yes, we noticed that the ignition was tampered with or removed, and there was a screwdriver in it.
Okay, like a screwdriver for the key?
Correct.
Okay. And did Mr. Blandino provide you any identification?
He did. He identified himself with an Arizona ID.
Okay, and was that in the name of Kim Blandino?
Yes.
Did you take a look at that ID?
Yes.
Was it a driver's license?
No, it was an identification card.
And so what, if any, response did you have?
I asked him if he had a driver's license because he was driving on a public roadway. And he told me that he had an international driver's license.
Okay. And what did he do in response to telling you that he had an international driver's license?
As he was telling me that he had an international driver's license, he was rummaging closer to like the passenger side as if he was gonna grab it to show me.
Was there a glove box over there on the passenger side?
Yes,
And was that the area that he was rummaging towards?
yes,
The car itself, just having noticed that the ignition was punched and it was started with a screwdriver, what, if anything, does that tell you in your training experience, just to inform you on this stop going forward?
based on my training and experience, having tampered with or removed ignition and using a screwdriver to maneuver in that vehicle is indicative of a stolen vehicle.
Did Mr. Blandino show you how he uses the screwdriver to start the vehicle?
Yes,
Okay. Were you able to determine whether Mr. Blandino had any driver's license at all? Like an actual, real driver's license that gave him a license to drive on public roadways?
no.
Objection to the term real.
Overruled.
Did Mr. Blandino tell you that he was on probation?
Yes,
And did you confirm that with a records check?
yes,
Uh, Did you also confirm his address with a records check as 441 North 16th Street
yes,
here in Las Vegas, Clark County, Nevada?
yes,
Did you also discover that Mr. Blandino had multiple priors for driving without a license
yes,
over decades?
that's correct.
During this stop, did you make contact with any other officers or detectives?
Yes, I made contact with Detective Mead and Detective Shiver, I believe.
Shy?
Yes,
And did they respond to your traffic stop?
yes,
Okay. Ultimately, was Mr. Blandino arrested?
yes.
And what was he arrested for?
He was arrested for driving without a valid driver's license, for not registering the vehicle within 30 days of residency, as well as the documents.
Was it the false status documents?
Correct.
Okay. Ultimately, his car is searched and those documents are recovered.
His vehicle was towed and we conducted an inventory.
Okay. Was Mr. Blandino's vehicle also parked illegally?
Yes,
Where was it parked?
Objection. That's not at issue.
You mean when he pulled over?
Yeah. It issued for,
He's not charged with illegal parking.
it goes to the overall circumstances of the
Okay,
case.
she can answer.
part of his truck was in a red zone.
Okay. Red zone being that that's a fire zone?
Yes,
Okay. And it was not registered to be on public roadways?
I'm
I
sorry.
thought
don't
it was
understand.
registered, it was just Montana.
Yeah, so he wasn't registered, he didn't have a driver's license, right?
Correct.
And then is there, based upon his history, was that one of the things taken into account as to why he was arrested in addition to the felony charge?
Yes,
Okay. Ultimately, the inventory search occurs, is that right?
yes,
And specific documents are impounded as a result?
Yes,
Okay. Those particular documents were impounded by you and your partner?
yes,
And did you have an opportunity to see those?
yes,
Okay. And was it ultimately the detectives who had recovered those during the inventory search?
yes.
Okay. State will pass the witness.
Officer, Mr. Blandino was at a red light when you came upon him, correct?
I can't confirm or deny.
Oh, you're a patrol officer, correct?
That's okay.
And you decided to make a stop of someone you thought was doing something incorrect, correct?
Correct,
You thought he was doing something wrong, right?
correct.
And you can't tell me whether or not you know he was at a red light or not?
Well, I was traveling eastbound, he was traveling westbound. So at some point he was at a red light, but when the light was green because there was another car that went by, he was still stopped in the number 2
Okay.
lane.
But it's, you don't know when you saw him whether he was at a red light or not, correct?
Correct,
You said you spoke to him, you saw a screwdriver and some other things when you looked in the car, correct?
yes,
Okay. You found out that he owns that car, correct?
that's correct,
Okay. And he adequately explained to you why he was using a screwdriver, correct?
he had an explanation,
Okay. And it was his car, correct?
yes,
It wasn't stolen, is what I'm trying to say, right?
that's correct,
Okay. And you said he was rummaging in the passenger compartment, correct?
yes,
Okay. Was he rummaging in the glove box?
I don't know,
You don't know.
I do not know.
Weren't you observing him?
I was observing him, but I couldn't see all the way inside of the truck.
Okay. At any point, I'm sorry, and then the vehicle was impounded and it was searched, right?
We conducted an inventory.
Okay. And some documents were found. I'm not sure if it was either by you or Detective Meade or somebody else, correct?
It was from someone else.
Okay. Did Mr. Blandino at any point ever hand you false documents?
No,
Did he ever present them to you in any way, shape, or form?
no.
And why was Detective Meade brought to the scene on this particular case?
After conducting a records check, he was advised, there was a notification,
Why?
I do not know.
So you're a patrol officer. How long have you been on the force?
A little shy of 3 years.
3 years. You know how to do a traffic stop, right?
Yes.
Why did you have to call Detective Meade?
Like I said, after conducting a records check, there's a notification to contact.
There was a notification in the system to contact Detective Meade if Mr. Blandino was encountered?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Any regret?
So defense counsel asked you about it being Mr. Blandino's car. Is that because Mr. Blandino told you it was his car?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever do any sort of check to see how he acquired that vehicle?
No, other than looking at the registration and confirming the VIN on the registration and the VIN on the vehicle, no. I don't know how he acquired it.
And so you don't know whether there was ever actually a lawful transfer of that property to Mr. Blandino?
Your Honor, objection.
What is
I don't know what he's trying to prove.
Well,
She's already testified it wasn't a stolen vehicle.
What is the objection? What is it?
What is the objection?
What is the
okay,
objection?
let's just calm down. Is it relevant?
Yeah,
I'm wondering why it would even be relevant.
just as it relates to his line of questioning on that, Your Honor.
You can answer.
Can you repeat the question?
Were you able to determine whether there was a lawful transfer of that vehicle to Mr. Blandino?
No,
Okay, so you don't know how he acquired that?
no.
Okay. You don't know if he took it from somebody?
No,
You don't know if the person who previously owned it had died and he took that vehicle?
no.
Okay.
Objection, relevance, Your Honor, we're so far afield.
Yeah, again, I'm not sure what the relevance is.
Okay. It's fine, I'll move on, Your Honor. Now, there was some question about Mr. Blandino not actually giving you the documents that were purported to be a driver's license, is that right?
Yes,
But did Mr. Blandino in fact make the effort to go over and grab the documents?
Objection.
What's the objection?
That is antithetical to the testimony that was elicited. She never, I asked her if he handed her anything, if he was rummaging in a glove box or anything. She said she didn't even know.
Okay, so
It's-
how is
It
this
seems
different?
like
Did
he
he,
just doesn't like redirect, like,
does it?
that's the objection, Your Honor.
Okay, ask the question again, because I don't understand why. Are you asking her, did he ever hand them to her or come and take them from her?
Did he make an attempt to grab the documents?
Grab the documents, like where? From the glove box?
Right.
Oh,
Right.
okay, you can answer.
Did Mr. Blandino ever make an attempt to grab the documents he was purporting to have as an international driver's license?
when I asked him if he had a driver's license and he stated he had an international driver's license, he began rummaging on the passenger side.
Okay. Which is, you indicated near the area where the glove box was.
Yes,
And you further indicated that was there some reason why he didn't ultimately produce those for you?
yes, I disregarded his attempt to give me the international driver's license.
Okay.
What
And
does
so,
that mean? You disregarded, what does that mean?
As he was rummaging to try to hand me something, I didn't look at it. I didn't take it from him.
Okay, you just said it's okay?
Correct.
Okay.
that's what it is.
Mr. Officer Martinez, you said that you didn't see what he was rummaging for, correct?
Yes,
So he never handed you anything, correct?
correct.
So your statement that he was trying to grab an international driver's license, in reality, you don't have any idea what he was looking for.
Correct, just
Okay, thank you
because-
very much. I'll pass the witness.
Go ahead.
So defense counsel cut you off after asking you don't have any idea what he's reaching for. Is that true, that you don't have any idea what he was reaching for?
I assumed he was reaching for the
Objection, Your Honor,
international driver's
speculation.
No,
license
she can
because
testify about what her perception was, but I understand she never got it or looked at it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
my perception was that he was grabbing the international driver's license after he told me he had an international driver's license.
Is that because he was reaching over in direct relation to him telling you he had an international driver's license?
Yes.
Understood. That's what it
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, can this officer be excused from her subpoena?
is. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much for your testimony here today. You may step down, and you are excused from your subpoena. You may call your next witness.
The next witness will be Detective Shive.
You do solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated. Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
David Shive, D-A-V-I-D-S-H-I-V-E.
Thank you, Your Honor. What do you do for a living, sir?
I work for Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department
And how long have you worked for the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department?
for 9.5 years.
Are you a detective?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been a detective?
For 4 years.
Okay. Were you working in that capacity as a detective for the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department on September 16, 2022?
Yes, sir.
And were you called out to a traffic stop involving an individual around that occurred sometime shortly before 8 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
Do you see the individual that was the subject of that traffic stop here in the courtroom today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I see that you're pointing over there. Can you just state for the record what the individual's doing or wearing?
He's wearing a CCBC coveralls.
All right, thanks. If the record reflect the identification of the defendant, Mr. Blandino.
So reflected.
And was that traffic stop of Mr. Blandino and his Dodge Ram vehicle over at Bruce and Bonanza here in Las Vegas, Clark County, Nevada?
Yes, sir.
Upon arriving there, was there a determination made that the vehicle was going to be towed?
No.
What's that?
Prior to arriving?
No, upon arriving there.
Oh, upon arriving, yes, sir.
Okay. And was that vehicle in fact towed?
Yes, sir.
Was an inventory search conducted in relation to that vehicle being towed?
Yes, sir.
And did you take part in that?
Yes, myself and, I apologize, I don't know his name, the other male patrol officer.
Okay. Did you locate any documents purporting to be something of a passport or a driver's license?
Yes, sir, two
And where did you locate those?
in the glove box,
Okay. And where was the glove box?
on the passenger side of the vehicle.
Okay. And that's the same Dodge Ram vehicle we've been discussing?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, Road Your Honor?
You may.
Thank you. And he's marked, yeah.
You want them individual photo or?
No, just package, thank you.
Oh, okay. Here you go, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Showing you grand jury exhibit 1. Just take a look through that and all the documents and tell me, just look up at me when you're done. Do you recognize what is exhibit 1?
Yes, sir.
And this is multiple pages? And what do you recognize it to be?
One of the documents that was found in the glove box.
Okay. I'm going to show you your grand jury exhibit, I'm sorry, state's exhibit 2. If you could please have a look at that, each
Why do you
page.
keep calling it grand jury exhibit?
Yeah, I don't know, I think it's bad habit, I
Okay.
apologize. State's exhibit 1, state's exhibit 2. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, sir.
And what is that document?
That's the second document that was found in the document.
Okay, these are both booklets,
Yes, sir.
and are these fair and accurate depictions of those booklets and the documents contained within them?
Yes, sir.
Okay, state's gonna move for the admission of 1 and 2, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
So admitted. Thank
All
you.
right. In addition to that, within the booklet described as State's Exhibit 2, or depicted in there, was there another item?
This item I did not see.
Okay,
I think that's the folded up.
Objection, Your Honor. It doesn't matter what he thinks it is. He said he never saw it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
okay.
I couldn't hear because he was talking so softly.
Sorry,
So
Your Honor.
maybe you could ask the question again.
You indicated you did not see it?
No, sir.
Okay, so you're not aware of this document?
No.
All right.
Thank you.
Am I able to switch to this? Is that possible?
They can still hear us, not bleeding.
Okay. Is that screen on in front of you?
That Elmo's not on, you hit the red button. Give it a second.
that screen on in front of you, Detective?
This one's?
This one here?
Probably the one
No.
I'm asking about.
This one is not?
There you go.
Thank you. All right. First going to State's Exhibit 1. Is this the front of that booklet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Going to the next page of this exhibit, what are we seeing here?
That's the next page of the booklet.
And what does it say?
It says, Elam's king of Israel, diplomatic passport.
Okay. And then underneath that,
It says, Elam wrecked the Israel diplomatic.
You're gonna have to speak up.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I have lost my voice a couple weeks ago.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I just,
Yeah, but we're not,
I don't think this is on.
it is.
it is.
Okay.
Sorry about
That's okay.
that.
So it says Elam's king of Israel diplomatic passport.
If I may inject, Your Honor, it's pronounced Elohim,
I'm sorry.
Just-
Okay,
just for the record.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
and then under that, does that appear to be the same thing in French?
Yes, sir.
What is it under that?
It says Elohim, king the Israel. It's probably in another language, the same.
And again, Your Honor, just for the record, the middle is German, the bottom is French.
We'll
And
take,
you know German and French?
we'll accept that.
I just know what this is.
Okay,
Thank you.
And at the bottom, does it say passport the ambassador?
Yes, sir.
All right, going to the next page. What are we seeing here?
It says Israelite nationality, and then it goes on tribe of Judah, talks about race Hebrew, and then the year of birth 1955, and then it says date of authorization 8/5 of 93.
Okay. It says place of birth, Great Falls, Montana as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And to the next page?
It's identifying, male, brown hair, hazel eyes, 5'8", and it goes on about the weight, height, just like a legal document.
Okay. Does that say 180 pounds for weight?
Yes, sir.
All right, going to the next page of this exhibit. Here at the top, does it indicate name?
Yes, sir. This is Kim Blandino,
Okay, and then what does it say under that?
ambassador.
Okay. And then is there a signature portion?
Yes,
Does that appear to be signed?
yes, sir.
And then what's under that?
A photograph of Mr. Blandino,
Is there anything else associated with that photograph?
a stamp with the Star of David.
Okay, as well as the cross in the middle.
Yes, sir.
And then on the right-hand side, what do we see?
It's got some numbers for authorization, and then this part was interesting to me when I was out there, because for vaccination, it has Bible verses, and then for driver's license information, it has Bible verses also.
Okay. So it indicates that there is a driver's license portion of this document.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then under that, it says in case of emergency in the United States, contact this number.
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with that number?
No, I am not.
Go to the next page, and the next page, and the last page. Okay. All right, going to the State's Exhibit 2. Is this the front cover of that particular folder?
Yes, sir.
Going into the next page of this exhibit?
Yes, sir.
Do we see a similar front page with the Elohim's King of Israel diplomatic passport,
Yes.
as well as in the other languages down below?
Yes, sir.
Same styling.
Yes, sir.
To the next page of this exhibit. What do we see here?
The same as the first one.
Okay. The nationality, the tribe, the race, the year, birth,
Weight,
okay. All of this is the same, appearing to be the same.
yes, sir.
And on to the next page. What do we see here?
The same as the recent one.
Okay. And what does that say?
Kim Blandino.
For name?
Yes, sir. There's ambassador with a signature and then a picture. Just like the last one with the stamp of David in the cross.
Okay.
This one is a little brighter, especially at night on the stop. This one I could see a lot clearer.
And then on the right-hand side, this one also includes a driver's license section.
Yes, sir, with the same Bible verse.
Okay. Go to the next page, and the next page, and the next page. Well out on this stop, was Mr. Blandino making any statements about these documents?
Not to me directly, but to my partner.
Objection.
Okay, well, he's not gonna talk about him if he didn't hear him, but he didn't make any statements to you, but to your partner.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you hear those statements?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what were those statements that Mr. Blandino was making?
He was talking about the documents,
What
as
did-
I was looking at them.
And what did he say?
He was just talking about that they were international driver's license.
Okay, so he referred to these two, States Exhibit 1 and 2, as his international driver's license?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did he indicate whether he's ever used these international driver's licenses?
Yes, he told us about an incident in Boulder City.
And what did he say?
He said that they accepted it.
Oh, he said that he used these in Boulder City and somebody in Boulder City accepted them as his driver's license?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, did you have the opportunity to confirm whether, I guess number one, these are in fact driver's licenses?
Yes, I did some research. In our fusion center, we had the State Department that is with us. And I showed them to the State Department and they said that they were not passports or international driver's license.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity to do a records check with Mr. Blandino and see if he has any driver's license?
Yes, sir.
And what were you able to determine?
I found that he did have one in Arizona, but it was surrendered back in '93.
Okay, so 1993 was the last time that he had an active driver's license?
Yes, sir.
And these two documents that in States Exhibit 1 and 2 that he purported to be his international driver's license were in fact not driver's license at all?
No, not at all, sir.
Okay. State will pass the witness.
Ross?
Sorry. Good afternoon, Detective.
Good afternoon.
So you didn't perform the actual stop, correct?
No, sir.
Okay. So all the nonsense about rummaging, whether it was here, there, wherever, you were not present for that,
No,
correct? Okay. When you inventoried the vehicle, you found these documents?
Yes,
correct?
sir.
And you said, actually, I just heard you went through the Fusion Center and contacted the State Department,
Yes,
correct?
sir, that's where I work.
Okay, you work at the Fusion Center,
Yes, sir, I
Okay.
work for counterterrorism.
counterterrorism. But we're not here on terrorism, right?
No, sir.
All right, so why were you called to the scene? Do you know?
My partner was contacted, sir. I was working with him at a large event.
Okay. Just going through the documents, Elohim, do you know what that means?
I do not, sir.
It means God.
Objection. Counsel's testifying.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. If I were to tell you that it meant God, would you have any reason to disagree with me?
Objection calls for speculation.
That's not speculation, it's the truth.
A reason to disagree
Okay,
with
I
is
said he
speculation.
could answer.
Okay, thank you. So, and you found out this is not a passport, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it is not a driver's license, correct? Okay, and it's listed as Israelite, not Israeli, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is not a passport of the state of Israel, correct?
No, it's not a passport at all, sir.
Okay, and it's not a document from the state of Israel, anything like that, right?
No.
And in fact, it has a Jewish star, a Star of David with a cross in the middle, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so And did you look at the last, again, is it your claim that he purported it was?
He was talking to Detective Lee, he did say that it was an international driver's license and that it worked, that Boulder City just accepted it the month prior.
Boulder City?
Yes, sir, from Boulder City Police.
Okay, okay. And did you look at the back cover of the document, the black back cover?
Yes, sir.
And that's a symbol there. Do you know what that symbol is?
I do not.
You don't recognize the Mercedes-Benz symbol?
It was hard to see, especially at night, sir.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Can you look at it now? I mean, do you have it in front of you?
I do not.
Can I approach it? And these are just the copies you gave me.
It's on the exhibit.
Actually, I thought it was the Star of David.
Well, take a look at that. You would agree that's the Mercedes-Benz symbol, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Do you appreciate the irony of a Mercedes-Benz symbol on an Israeli passport?
Objection, relevant.
Withdrawn, Your Honor. But, Detective Shive, at no time did Mr. Blandino present this document to you and claim any kind of benefit or try to pass this off to you as a driver's license or anything of that nature, correct?
Yes, sir. He did not present that to me at any time.
Okay.
As any documents.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Any redraw?
Yes. You said he didn't present it to you at any time as any document. Is that because he was talking to Detective Meade?
Yes, sir. I was going over the documents on the hood of the car and using the spotlight so I could see them. And Detective Meade was talking to him in the back of the patrol car.
Okay.
So I was up at the left side of the patrol car using the spotlight, and Detective Meade was behind me with the door open speaking to him.
Okay. And it was Mr. Blandino that was referring to these documents as his international driver's license.
Yes, sir, because Detective Meade was questioning him on these documents.
And would that be trying to pass them off to somebody on scene as an international driver's license?
I'm not sure, sir.
Was he trying to indicate to Detective Meade that these were his international driver's license?
Objection, asked and answered.
It's not
You
asked
can
and answered.
answer.
To be honest, sir, on this stop, I don't think, I think he was saying that they were international driver's license, but I don't think he was saying for that current stop. I think he was more talking about the Boulder City stop.
Okay, and why do you think that?
Because they were in the glove compartment, sir.
And what does that have to do with it?
It didn't get brought up until he was in custody into the back of our car.
Oh, so you weren't aware that he told the patrol officer who pulled him over that he had an international driver's license as he was reaching over to the passenger side of the vehicle?
No, sir.
Okay, so being aware if that happened, would that change what your opinion was of that particular interaction?
Objection, opinion?
Right, the objection sustained.
Okay. Pass witness.
Any response?
I just want to make it crystal clear, at no time did Mr. Blandino try to pass these documents off to you as anything more than a document.
Correct.
Thank you very much.
Was he talking to you?
No, sir.
Okay,
All right, can he be excused from his subpoena?
he can.
Okay, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
You may step down, you are excused from your subpoena, and you may call your next witness.
The state will rest.
Okay?
Well, at this point, Your Honor, I would ask for essentially a directed determination. Nothing has been proved.
You don't want to call any witnesses?
No,
I just want to make sure.
what I'm asking is, I do not believe they proved their case at this point.
Okay?
So I'd ask you to direct, if you're going to either deny that or hold it in
I
abeyance.
don't know
we
what
do-
that means, there's no such thing as a direct verdict at a revocation hearing. I mean, I'll hear the witnesses from both sides, and then I'll allow the state to argue, and then I'll
Sure.
allow the defense
I-
to argue.
No problem, Your Honor. Just so I'm clear, we are just simply dealing with the revocation, correct? We're not dealing with that motion to impose sentence that was filed, is that correct?
I think that we're dealing with both of them today, Your Honor.
Okay, but there's been no evidence regarding,
And my question is, I have the PO dealing with that here in subpoena, I just release him if we're not.
I think that my motion has all the evidence that's needed for that, Your Honor.
Okay, so you don't wanna call the probation officer?
I don't see any reason to call the probation officer, given the fact that Mr. Blandino did not sign the probation agreement. That's what that's based on in and of itself.
Okay. Any witnesses?
Sit down. Sit down.
And I would just note that that probation agreement has been filed with the court. I don't think they're contesting the authenticity of that. That's a part of this case.
Yeah, it's true, probation agreements get filed.
And again, Your Honor, I'm looking at the Register of Actions has the revocation hearing on for today. It doesn't have the motion to impose sentence, if I'm correct. I'm looking at your clerk.
I'm not sure there's a big difference.
Well,
You know, because if you revoke somebody, you impose the sentence.
well, potentially, Your Honor, I mean, under the statute, but
Right.
again,
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out if I need to call Officer Chandler to the stand to refute this stuff that's not actually on the calendar. That's all I'm trying to find out right now.
Well, the issue that he wouldn't sign the probation agreement, yeah, that's before the court.
Okay, then I would call, if I can just confirm my client, one.
Sure.
Paul, are you- you want to press it? No, you want to have him test it. So, you go first. Okay, sit down. Your Honor, Mr. Blandino, against my advice, would like to testify. I have belief that he will have to testify in the narrative because I do not believe that I could ethically question him in that fashion. So I'd just like to present that to the court, and I will now call Mr. Blandino to the stand.
Okay, he can just sit right there. Yes, you can sit
Oh,
right
now
there,
I
you
can
can
sit
raise your right hand, you can be sworn.
As you know from the previous
Please
thing, I
raise your
can't
right
raise
hand,
my
sir.
hand.
Well, you can affirm.
I can state under penalty of
Hey,
perjury.
you can
But I would tell
affirm.
the
Raise
truth.
your right
I
hand.
cannot swear or affirm or
Hey.
raise my hand.
You can raise your hand.
No, I cannot.
Yes, you can.
Not in this context, Judge. I did not raise my hand at the trial, and I
Okay.
cannot raise, it's
You
my religious.
understand that you will be given testimony under the pains and penalties of
I have to
perjury.
tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and that I can
Okay.
be prosecuted for perjury if I do anything otherwise.
Okay, you can go ahead, counsel.
Don't do the
Do
information.
you want me standing to testify, or can I
You
sit?
can stand or sit, whatever you wanna do. State your name and spell your first and last name.
My name is Kim Blandino, Kim, and then Blandino.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Is there something you wanna tell the court about, this hearing today?
Well, absolutely. First, I'm just gonna rebut what Martinez said, or Officer Martinez. I was in the left lane, I don't know what to call you that number, but the left lane going straight. The left turn lane was over there, lady was there, and I observed that her passenger light was out. I had seen it in my rearview mirror when I was traveling from Bonanza and Eastern to Bonanza and Bruce. We were stopped at a red light. I got out and I did this gesture, Judge. I did roll down your window gesture, okay? Because she had her window up. I just wanted to tell her that her passenger side light was out and that it's dangerous, that people could think it's a motorcycle going down the road.
Well,
And-
so is getting out of your car in the middle of an intersection, but go ahead.
It was a red light, Judge. It turned green, and it wasn't that I got into my truck because I saw the officers. The light had turned green, so that is dangerous. Got right back in my truck, hurriedly come there, and then I see the truck come through the intersection. I see it make a U-turn, the police vehicle. It makes a U-turn and turns on its lights. I was turning on the 16th anyway because where Evie and I are presently staying on 441 16, just a block down from there. I pulled over as soon as possible because I didn't want a failure to yield ticket, and so I was halfway in the red zone. But It was dark at night and the red zone was obscured, there wasn't a street light, so I couldn't see the red zone, but I knew if I didn't pull over at the curb at the immediate point, I was probably gonna get a ticket for failure to yield. So I did what I was supposed to do as a good traveler on the road. I'm puzzled by why there's no body cam footage or dash cam footage. That dash cam footage would have shown that light was out. I'm commanded by my creator to try and protect people or to advise them if they're making error or danger. If that lady, if I wouldn't have tried to stop her or let her know about the light, and she got in an accident and killed or hurt somebody seriously, God calls me to account for that failure to warn. So there was a red light, there was no danger at the time. As soon as it turned green, I couldn't get it. I had to rush into my truck, which I did, the red light, and then the stop occurred. So Martinez, her testimony makes it appear as though I got in my truck because I saw them, and that's just entirely not true. I explained to them the reason why the screwdriver and the thing was because the ignition was broken. I had gotten a new one, but I didn't have time to put it back in. So I was using the screwdriver, and contrary to what Officer Martinez said, the screwdriver was in a box there. It was not hanging out of the ignition. I would put the screwdriver in, and then you got a way to just turn it. So I presented them, and I don't know why they didn't testify to this. I presented them valid registration from Montana. I have permanent license plates on that truck. It wasn't stolen, it wasn't procured by some kind of artifice or fraud, as the district attorney is seeming to allege. It was a permanent plate authorized by the state of Montana. I travel all over Montana, Arizona, so I have a Montana registration and I have an Arizona license. Montana especially because that's where I was born, and Montana, for 3 years worth of registration, any vehicle 11 years or older, they allow permanent registration. Some bean counter somewhere figured if they charge 3 years for the registration, they end up on the plus side on an 11 or a year old vehicle. However, it was legally done. When that stop occurred, Officers Neeson and Martinez were both curious about the ignition. That's true. I did reach over, I showed them my Arizona ID. I have the Arizona ID because these banks like to see state government issued, state in the United States for cashing checks. When I get out of CCDC, they'll give me a check. They will not give me cash. I will have to go to the bank and I will cash it with my ID. And that's why I have the ID. I've used this, no, wait a second, let me get to Shive. Okay, so the stop occurs, and then I'm cooperating fully with the officers. I tell Officer Neeson that I'm going to meet up with Evie. She's the 97-year-old World War II vet that you're well aware of from the trial. She was here in the gallery during that trial. She has serious health problems, and I'm her 24/7 caretaker. So I told him I was just heading down the street. As a matter of fact, I showed him I showed Officer Neeson on my smartphone there, me taking Evie to vote in what was it, 2020. And so it was a picture from the Review Journal, because we were there the first day of early voting. And he found that kind of interesting. I was wearing my Trump Jesus t-shirt, which you saw me wear, and the district attorney saw me wear one day during the trial, where it says, Trump now, Jesus forever, socialism equals slavery, savior equals self-rule. Savior being Jesus, that when you have the belief in Jesus, as I do, you have rule over yourself and your passions. And so it's also a double entendre.
I just have a second with my phone on tap.
Sure.
You're on, I'll just get to it.
Okay.
Okay. Just get to the relevant stuff.
Okay.
All right.
So The officers indicated that they didn't like the documentation, the Arizona ID. They saw the scope, they referenced the scope, that the scope looked, it showed some previous driver's license issues. They said that they were going to take me down to the city jail and have me booked for municipal ordinance violations. The passport was not an issue at all, except that Martinez did ask, contrary to what she said, the truth is, she said, she looked at the ID, I said, you have a driver's license? I said, I have an international driver's license. I reached in, I did get it out of the glove box, I opened up where it says the driver's license page, and I showed her that. And my attorney now, for the record, is
So you
looking up
did
at the
present
sky.
that document as a
Sorry.
driver's license?
Huh?
You presented that document to the police as a driver's license?
Not in point of fact. What I have to say about this is that the scriptural verses indicated shows that from the kingdom of Israel, of which I am a citizen and subject, with the king of Israel being Jesus, who's coming back anytime in his second coming, that the kingdom of Israel does not require a driver's license. These particular biblical passages talk about not to making covenants.
Well, the state of Nevada does.
Well, the state of Nevada
Nevada
also
requires a
acknowledges
driver's license.
exemptions. So if you're gonna counter that, Judge, I did in fact get a ticket dismissed showing a picture of this as my driver's license to Gary Booker, who was then the city attorney. It's a certified copy. That document that is, I don't know whether it's marked as exhibit, this one that's on that third page, that's a certified copy of a dismissal. I paid $50 for the broken tail light, and Gary Booker said, fax me a copy of your driver's license, and I will dismiss the,
So you presented that document to the city attorney in Boulder City?
well, I
and
faxed it to
contended-
him.
Just a minute, and contended it was your driver's license?
I said I clearly told him that it was from my country, which is the kingdom of Israel, that does not require a driver's license. Now, I don't think the judge or Detective Shive understand international law. Every country in the world under an international compact issues licenses for international purposes, which means if you get an international license, United States, it's good every other country but the United States. If you get one from France, it's good anywhere but from France. And then you can travel in other
So
countries.
where'd you get it from?
Huh?
Where'd you get it from?
Where'd I get this passport and driver's license?
Mhm.
I made it myself.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Under the authority of my king, which is Jesus, that allows me to do this.
All right, so
There
you
is
just,
nothing-
you just made it up.
There
is
was
what I'm
nothing in
hearing.
law. What do you mean I made it up? What does that
You made
mean?
it up and you created this
Yes,
yourself.
yes.
Okay.
I
And
mean, you're saying made it up,
And
it
you're
seems like,
contending that it's an international driver's license?
well, it comes under that. Now, whether people want to accept it as such, the State Department has many governments in the world that they do not have diplomatic relations with, and they cut it off. And they do not recognize neither their diplomats, their ambassadors, or have any kind of mutual thing with that. But my king, which is Jesus, requires that I preach the good news of his rising, his living today, and the fact that we are supposed to love God with all our heart, with all our mind, and with all our spirit, and to love thy neighbor as thyself. These are the two greatest commandments as dictated in the scriptures. What I'm,
Again, Your Honor, if I could have a second.
Sure.
Just testify to the facts, just keep it to that. She was not going to believe what she's going to now. If you can walk through it, so just.
see, I have nothing not proven it
And just keep it relevant to this.
to. It is,
Okay?
it is.
Please.
There is nothing false in this document, Judge. I was born in 1955. The document was created in 1993. I'm shrunk 2 inches. I'm not 5'8" any longer. Obviously, I've got less hair than I have in this picture. The Star of David. The Star of David represents David the king of old. and the cross comes out because Jesus is a direct descendant of David, and he's the King of
Okay,
Kings.
anything else about this stop?
I'm sorry?
Anything else about the traffic stop?
I am testifying as best I can. I'm supposed to tell the whole truth, and if you don't have the whole truth, I can tell by your demeanor and your deportment that you're willing to put me right into prison. So I have a right to testify as I will testify, and as how God gives me the words to speak. And so, about the stop, to get back to that, and then we'll get back to this later. I just want to stress there's nothing false about this document. Those scriptural verses are accurate.
Okay,
Everything in
please
this is
move on,
accurate.
please move on.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going through the stop. They're indicating that they're going to take me to city jail, charge me with municipal ordinances, because we were it's technically in the city. As you know, they can charge either city ordinances,
Please, I understand that, no
or
need
in
to
this
tell me
case,
that.
they charged me with county violation of Nevada revised statutes on the traffic matters, which they had their choice. They could elect one or the other. So when Meade showed up at this stop, he was very condescending. He obviously,
Are you talking about Detective Meade?
yeah, Detective Meade. Anyway, Detective Meade, he says, "Oh, Mr. Blandino, now I'm wearing my Trump Jesus shirt, which you've seen." He says, "Oh, I didn't recognize you with the ascot." He's completely demeaning, and you could tell immediately that he was following the communist thing, which show me the man and I'll find you the crime. He was giddy, he was anxious to find some reason, no matter what it was, to try and get my probation revoked. And so he said he started ordering these officers about. They didn't testify to anything on that. I'm sorry, Martinez didn't testify to anything as to the fact that Meade started ordering these officers around. When I was first brought to the car, I'm facing this way on the car. They got me in the car and they said, "Put your hands behind the back." And I said, "Are you gonna cuff me and arrest me?" He said, "No, we're just for protection, for safety." So when Meade said, "Oh, he didn't have a driver's license," which that's what Mark Neeson told Thing, he said, "Okay, then arrest him." So that at that moment they cuffed me, and Meade was immediately elated the fact of seeing me cuffed. I could see this in his eyes. He's a very angry, spiteful person, and so. Then he's issuing other orders, and he said, "Wait a minute, did he show you something?" And then I spoke as to the international driver's license and to the Boulder City dismissal by City Attorney Gary Booker. And so I had told him that I presented it dozens of times over the decades. People in Montana, Arizona, when I travel, and no one has had any issue. As a matter of fact, in the 1994 conviction.
Please do not, we're not going back to 1994.
No, I'm saying I had this in my possession from 1993
Move
on.
on, or I'll assume you're done.
No, the state of Nevada had it.
Move on, or I'll assume you're done.
So Meade says, okay, he asked for permission to search my truck, okay? Meade did. I'm cuffed up now, and it's tight, and so Officer Neeson is very professional, and I said, "It's tight," and he said, "Okay, let me try and loosen it," and he did loosen it. And Meade said, "Oh yeah, Mr. Blandino likes to play games." You could obviously tell the vindictive nature of what he was saying in that regard. So when I get put into the patrol car, I'm presuming I'm going to city jail, and he said, "No, Mr. Blandino, now you're gonna go to Carr County Jail, and you're gonna be booked in as a felony." What my indication was that he was charging me with 2 counts, even though these are just duplicate documents of the same. One's a backup. There was one that was obviously weather damage. That's why one is more clear than the other. So when I'm in the patrol car and driving, I tell Officers Neeson and Martinez, "Well, no good deed goes unpunished." Me trying to warn the lady of her life. But for that, I would not have been stopped. I knew the risk when I got out. I know God wanted me to be arrested for whatever purposes He has in mind. Those will unfold in time. But I know that I've done some good up in the Clark County Detention Center for the time I've been there. And to be a witness and to be vindictively prosecuted like I am, I know serves God's purpose. One thing that they didn't indicate on this, there's fine print. It says unauthorized use of this passport is punishable by law. You didn't read the fine print in there.
Oh,
So that's on that as well at the very bottom. So everything was done legally under Title VIII. I rescinded my US citizenship. I am not a US citizen. I indicated that to P.O. Chandler. This was available to Officer Chandler at any time. He saw when he came to visit the house for his review under probation, he saw that I had the Montana plates in the truck. And so when I said, yeah, he said, is that your truck? And I said, yes. And he kind of like smirked a little bit. I said, why did you want to, I believe I said, on my memory is, my recollection is, I said, did you want to look at the truck and search it? Because you have authority to search anything without a warrant. And at that time, I had those passports in that glove box as well. This was maybe a month earlier than the traffic stop. So the officers arrest me and they take me to CCDC. And then I have now the Justice Court, a preliminary hearing and stuff set on the traffic, the misdemeanors and then the felony. But at no time was I had any evil design whatsoever. I don't require this for me. I use this to show other people because they like to see picture ID. Like I said, I've used this for decades and I travel with it. You can see that it's a big size, it doesn't fit in the wallet. So if I'm wearing my suit, I wear it in my suit. And so there was no intent to defraud anybody. This report says, it is common for individuals with anti-government idea. I'm not anti-government. I am against tyranny. I'm for freedom and liberty. That's what my king demands. He demands that we live that way and that we extend that to others, regardless of their religious beliefs. But there is nothing unlawful in creating this. I've rescinded my US citizenship
He's
legally.
repeating the same thing, so Mr. Dickerson,
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, I'm not done yet, Judge.
yeah, you're done.
No, I'm not.
Cross-examination,
You're not anti-government,
No,
but you've renounced your United States citizenship.
that's not anti-government. 8,000 people expatriate every year from the United States. And they're not.
That's a yes that you've renounced your US citizenship, correct?
No, I did not renounce, I rescinded. There's a difference.
All right. And you're also a diplomat?
Yes,
Okay. And that's what States Exhibit 1 and States Exhibit 2, these passports of yours indicate that you're a diplomat, right?
my mission is to preach the good news that Jesus has risen, that he's alive today, and to preach the good news of the gospel.
Let me turn this one over here.
And I do that.
Are you gonna use the Elmo again?
Yeah, I'll use that. So, I'm gonna show you States Exhibit 1 here.
Mhm.
This is the one that you showed, Officer Martinez?
I don't know, I had two, and I don't know which one it was.
Sorry, this is States Exhibit 2. Okay. It was either States Exhibit 1 or States Exhibit 2
That's correct, right.
that you showed Officer Martinez as your international driver's license.
Right.
Okay.
And I use the international driver's license as a shorthand because people don't understand the concept oftentimes. Oftentimes in life.
It's
we
fine,
shorthand.
that's fine.
Yeah.
So, States Exhibit 2 is this one. And then inside the front cover of States Exhibit 2 is that document we were talking about, isn't that right?
Yeah, the dismissal by the Boulder City court.
Okay. I'm gonna show you this. This is State's Proposed Exhibit 3. Showing you each page of it,
Right.
back and front.
That one you just passed, if you want me to,
Yeah, we can chat about it, but I want to show it to you first.
right.
You recognize it?
Yeah.
Okay, is this that document that was in that passport?
It's exactly right.
Okay, all right. State moves for the admission of states, Exhibit 3.
Will you show it to council?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That one copy is the
There's
fact,
no question pending.
I'm sorry, apologize.
Your Honor, this is a multi-page document. I guess my objection would be that the district attorney is trying to enter information of a criminal complaint. I believe it's some kind of a conviction that would be inappropriate and irrelevant at this point. I mean, obviously felonies less than 10 years can come in. I know this is a
Boulder
revocation
City
hearing.
Stuff,
It's the Boulder City Municipal Information.
the one where he contends they were A-okay with this being offered as the driver's license?
And the one you've been testifying about.
Okay,
I offer that, Your Honor. I'm sure my client would disagree with me. I know what's going to happen, but I want the objection noted.
okay, it's noted and it's admitted into evidence.
Thank you. This is on, Mr. Blandino?
Yeah.
Great. Showing States Exhibit 3. This is that document, the front page of it that we've been discussing?
Excuse me. Got the wrong pipe.
Is that-
Can you orient it to where I don't have to turn my head
Yeah, you
sideways?
know, let's see, I'll do it this way.
Okay.
Okay, is this that document
Yeah, this is the municipal court of Boulder City.
indicating it's a complaint for an unlicensed driver, right?
Right,
For you, Kim Dennis Blandino?
yeah, I don't use the name, middle name Dennis, but they did.
Okay. And then this document was actually certified by the court, is that right?
Well, I obtained that because I wanted evidence that it was dismissed based on, the case was dismissed based on my faxing over a copy of that.
And so you obtained the certified copy, right?
Right,
And it says here on the second page, I hereby certify that this is a true and correct copy of the original in the Boulder City Municipal Court file.
right, mhm,
And it's dated December 24, 2001.
Yeah.
And signed by the court clerk of Boulder City Municipal Court.
right.
And is that's the back page of this front page we've been looking at?
I guess it's a back page. I didn't know if it was two-sided or single-sided.
Okay. And then here, on the next page, this is the third page of State's Exhibit 3. Is this a fax? Is that what that is?
Yeah, Gary Booker, who was then the city attorney, said fax over a copy of your driver's license and we would dismiss.
Your Honor, I apologize. I'm going to object on relevance. We're not here litigating this thing. Even if he did this back in 1993 or whenever, the statute of limitations, I mean, we're so far afield of what we're dealing with right now. What's in front of Your Honor is
Right, whether he's using this passport and passing it off as being a driver's license.
right in the incident that we're here for, which was the traffic stop, not something that happened in Boulder City 20 years ago.
Okay, I'm
So-
gonna allow you to continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. And so, Mr. Blandino, you sent it from Office Depot, is that right?
Oh, you're reminding me. Yeah, I guess that was from Office Depot.
And that you sent that on August 10th, 1998.
I'm sorry, he coughed and I couldn't hear you.
August 10th, 1998? Is that right? That's what it indicates here in the top corner.
They must have their date stamp. Why does that say 2001? Oh, I must have got the certified copy much later than that. Okay,
Yeah, 1998, right?
okay.
Right. Does that sound right?
Well, it looks right. I mean, unless their date stamp was wrong. I don't recall that date, but,
This would have been associated with the fax, correct?
right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because he didn't even, he said, he didn't even want me to have to come into the office or anything and show him the actual document or the passport. He wanted me to just fax it. I guess he's a busy guy.
Okay, and so then here on this page, this is the copy of the passport and driver's license that you
Right.
sent to
Right,
the
right,
Boulder City Municipal Court.
right.
Okay.
Well, no, to the city attorney.
Okay, to the city attorney, all right. And that's the same thing that we've been looking at in both States Exhibit 1 and States Exhibit 2, correct? Here's States Exhibit 2 on the fourth page.
Right.
That's correct.
Okay.
Just showing Your Honor what I showed him, State's Exhibit 2 on the 4th page. And that's where it indicates that you have the driver's license here, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And that's, you also mentioned that,
Now, to make sure that.
but
you're
hang
actually-
on, that's not my question,
Okay.
right? At the bottom of this page, that's what you were mentioning is the unauthorized use of this passport is punishable by law?
Right,
Okay. And showing the 4th page of State's Exhibit 2, that's what it says right here at the bottom, is that correct?
right.
Okay, and then fourth page of State's Exhibit 1, the same thing, unauthorized use of this passport is punishable by law.
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Going back to State's Exhibit 3, the page we were on, turning to the next page, and then there was a certification of that page as well, correct?
Right.
All right. And then ultimately, what you have with that is this document, is that right?
Right.
And this document,
Yeah, I can't read the left side, you got that O2 part of the left.
oh, yeah, that's right, yeah, let me zoom out for you a bit. Okay. So this is a document that's titled Acceptance of Negotiations,
Right.
in your name, Kim Dennis Blandino, or Blandino.
Yeah, I didn't write that, I think that was Gary Booker, an associate.
And it indicates count 1 and count 2, count 1 being taillight issue,
Mhm.
is that a yes?
Yes,
And count 2 being unlicensed driver.
right,
And then it talks about your plea here, right? Accepting the plea, pleading no contest, is that right?
right,
And then as specifically as to count 2, the unlicensed driver, it indicates what your negotiation is that what that is?
I'm trying to read that.
If
If defendant has copy of driver's license municipal court by 3 PM today, city agrees to dismiss, otherwise for trial on 10/22/98. Send it in.
Okay, would it read correct if it's defendant faxes copy of driver's license?
Oh, fax, yeah, that's what that is. What
Okay.
did I say?
Gets or has copy?
Faxes, yeah.
Okay, and then here, this word, otherwise, comma, set for trial,
Oh, set, yeah, set for trial, right,
Okay.
okay.
and
His
then,
handwriting's as bad as mine is.
and then this was signed by you, is that a yes?
Wait a minute, what is that?
Defendant
Defendant.
attested by something, phone?
Oh, okay, yeah, so see, he didn't even want me to come in to sign, I said, okay, yeah, that's good.
Okay. And then that document as well was certified by the court,
Right,
okay. And this final document. So you carry State's Exhibit 3 around within State's Exhibit 2, that, your passport, just to kind of show, that this is your driver's license and it works, right?
I showed to evidence that everybody had the opportunity to accept or reject that. Gary Booker could have rejected it, but I'm not forcing anybody to accept my religious beliefs or my practices, about Jesus and the kingdom of Israel. However, I knew that claims like yourself would say that it's phony, it's fraudulent, and I think this goes to the fact that it's a substantial document that was accepted by a prosecuting agency within Nevada. I've had it accepted by the Nevada Department of Prisons before they became the Nevada Department of Corrections. They had that in their possession for 4 years. And LVMPD has had possession of that. This is the first time that I faced any kind of charges or repercussions for having that document.
Because you've used this as your driver's license for years.
Well, it's not just my driver's license. It talks about vaccinations. You'll see that on there. It describes me. It's a multi-purpose document. I want to have other people come to a knowledge of Jesus and to, in fact, become citizens of the kingdom of Israel if possible, because if everybody did as I do, to love thy neighbor as thyself, and love God with all thy might and thy strength and thy heart, this world would be a paradise.
So it being your driver's license is just one of the things that it is, right?
Yeah, it's evidence of what
And
my
you
stance is on
indicated that,
vaccinations do.
you indicated when you were testifying in the narrative that you've used it as such, as a driver's license, dozens of times. I think that was your quote, right?
Right, I've had cases dismissed here in the Justice Court showing that, and in the Municipal Court of Las Vegas.
All right. State will pass the witness.
There's nothing fraudulent about it.
Okay, any other witnesses?
Yes, you're,
What about redirect or whatever you want to do that?
can you stay on point to testify?
Yeah.
Okay. Your Honor, my client would like to add something.
Okay, you can add, but I'm not gonna hear the same thing over and over again, but go ahead.
I just have to say, I mean, this was not prepared, not possessed, not in any way used for any evil design whatsoever. I'm
Okay.
a safe traveler on the road. I look out for others. I
Yeah,
try.
according to you, right? You're the only one that gets to test that, acknowledge that, because you don't go to the DMV and take a driving test or a written test, right?
I'm prohibited from
You-
doing that. I'm prohibited from going and making a contract with the state of Nevada. I've tried to, and the thing is,
Okay, then you can't drive on the roads. You're entitled to do that, but then you can't drive on the roads. You
Well,
don't get to
that's-
make up your own set of rules.
no, it is international law, Judge. It's
Okay.
international law. If
Anything
you don't want to
else?
accept that, I cannot debate you on that. You're on the
You're
bench,
right.
I'm here.
Anything else?
But the other thing is, because of this and my rescission of United States citizenship, I am not, nor have I ever been since this, a resident of the state of Nevada. I'm a traveler. My mission is no different,
You're a what?
a traveler
What does that mean?
within the United States. I travel. I do, the address that I use, 441, I use care of 441, because at any moment, God might have me move. I do not claim residence of Nevada. I'm not a resident.
Alright.
Now, the thing is that this is very important
How'd you go
because.
vote?
Huh?
How did you vote?
I don't vote. I cannot vote here. It'd be
Okay,
illegal for
you
me to
just
vote.
took your friend to vote? I thought you said in the beginning you took
Yeah, I
your
take
friend
her to
to go
vote. She likes
Okay.
to vote. She's a US citizen. She's actually a true African American, born in South Africa, naturalized in 1861 in the United States. And so she likes to vote against corrupt politicians. And that's what I do for her. It's part of what I do for her. I take her to medical appointments and so on. I took a vow to take care of her till the end of her days, unless
Okay, anything
something
else
stops me.
relevant to this proceeding?
Yes, there is. It's been alleged that this is a fraudulent document. It's impossible to be fraudulent. This court, you, Judge, have sworn an oath to protect, defend the US
It
Constitution.
appears as though you quit testifying.
No,
and
no,
now you
listen,
wanna go
listen,
into
Judge.
arguing. No, I don't, no, you have an
You
attorney,
recognize
your
the
attorney will argue.
Yeah.
So apparently you
Okay,
don't
but-
have any other
Oh, no, no,
testimony,
I've got
you're a
something else.
witness at this time.
I've got something that this document, I just want to make it absolutely clear, is not false in any way.
Okay,
Nor can the district
All right.
attorney say it was false. And under
Okay.
international law, I am acting absolutely appropriately. If the State Department, to rebut what Mr. Detective Shive said, he may have checked with the State Department, but just because the State Department does not recognize this kingdom and this king, does not mean that it's invalid or fraudulent. The US government refuses to recognize states and countries all over the world. And I don't force anybody to accept this or, accept its validity. There was no evil design in any way, shape, or form in doing this. It's no different than, me, that was one thing I wanted to rebut as well. Meade said there's no such thing as an international license. Now, police are allowed to lie to the public. We can't lie to the police, or that's a crime, lying to the police. And he knows he's lying through his teeth when he said it. The other thing that I did want to address on that stop is Meade was completely dismayed that I was not put in prison on that conviction, and this, he indicated his vindictiveness that he wanted to put me back in and have me back under lock and key, and that's what his intent is. And the DA is vindictively prosecuting me on this case in the Justice Court. There is nothing improper at all.
Okay, so
With
that's
this
about the
document.
18th time you've said that, so I'll assume that you are done, and I'll hear from the state in any argument you want to make to the court.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well,
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Your Honor, we do have another witness.
Oh, I
Yeah, we
apologize.
have Officer Chandler, so
Okay, I just wanted to, I have to leave in like 6 minutes.
it should not take more than
Okay,
that, to be honest with
all right.
you.
You do solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated. Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
Eric Chandler, ERIC CHANDLER.
Do you want to have it marked?
Words and divisions.
Will you file it? Yes, Your Honor.
Just
And-
as one,
Just one, yes, Your Honor. It is the
the probation?
probation document. I believe the state has no objection.
yeah, I believe it's the same one that was filed with my motion.
Okay, so it'll be Exhibit A, and state have no objection to its admission?
No objection. Fine.
Okay, it's admitted.
Officer Chandler, you were, what do you do for a living?
I work for Nevada State Police Division of Parole and Probation,
How long have you been doing that?
15 years.
At some point, you were Mr. Blandino's probation officer?
Yes,
Okay. And as a result of that, you sat down, discussed with him, went over the rules and regulations?
correct.
And as part of that, you put together a probation agreement and rules document?
The probation agreement is made by our file setup, which is based off of the court minutes from the sentencing.
Okay. I'm just going to show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 1, and do you recognize that as the document?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I'm just going to put it up on the here.
It's Defendant's Exhibit A.
Oh, it's Exhibit A, I apologize.
That's okay.
Exhibit A. So, let me see here. This is the document we were just talking. Oh, God, I'm just having such a hard time here. This is the document, correct?
Yes, it is.
There we go, sorry. Okay. And that's your signature at the bottom?
Yes, it is.
And there's a place for Mr. Blandino to sign as well, correct?
Correct.
And he did not. He chose not to sign, correct?
I actually wrote that.
Oh, you wrote that, okay.
Yes, and put my initials next to it.
And on the second page, where the special conditions are, again, the same thing, your signature at the bottom and chose not to sign as well, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Did you have a problem with that?
As far as him signing or not
Yeah.
signing it? No, I do not.
Okay. You didn't report it as something he didn't do. You didn't recommend that he come back to court for revocation or anything of that matter, correct?
I did not.
Okay. I just would like you to look at special condition number 8.
Okay.
Okay. And it says have no contact with the courts. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And the second one, the next one, number 9, it says do not enter the courts unless the defendant is present for official business, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Can you reconcile that?
Mr. Blandino and I discussed that. I actually called the court to get some clarification. I was advised by the judge's JDA that he was to discuss these matters with his attorney if he needed clarification. And also, I explained to him that he couldn't just show up at the courthouse or being engaged in any proceedings unless he actually had a case on calendar and not just showing up at a courthouse.
Okay. As written, it was confusing enough that you called the court, correct?
It wasn't confusing, it was just plainly stated not to have contact with the courts.
Oh, okay, well, that's the first one, number 8, and then number 9 says, don't, you can show it. I mean,
Correct.
and this isn't trick questions, I'm just saying, it's a little confusing back and forth.
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered. He indicated it's not confusing.
I didn't think it was confusing.
Well, you wrote it, Your Honor, I understand, but what I'm getting, I'll
I mean,
withdraw.
I'm obviously not gonna prevent him from coming into the court if he has some type of official business or docket.
Okay.
You know, something on the docket, that would not be appropriate.
Okay. And I'm sort of in a jackpot here, Your Honor, because what I want to say obviously is to someone, and we understand that's what you meant. I'm not sure the words on the page were clear to Mr. Blandino. Would
Objection,
you?
is this argument, Your Honor?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
Okay,
I mean, if that's his only issue, I mean, you could even take out number 8 and say, do not have any contact with the courts unless you're there for official business. And then he'll sign it, right? That's what I thought.
I don't know that I can speak for Mr. Blandino. I'm just,
It's fine.
okay, sorry. I'm sorry, Officer Chandler, what I'm getting at is, when you sat down with Mr. Blandino to work on this document with him, is it fair to say that he was confused by some of the issues, some of the conditions?
I don't know if he was confused. What I explained to him is my interpretation of number 8 was that under the instant offense, he had direct contact with the court as far as emailing the court or showing up to court. He didn't have proceedings, so that's what I took number 8 to mean.
Okay. And that, again, you just said that was your understanding?
Correct.
Okay. And would it be fair to say Mr. Blandino didn't sign because he communicated to you, I can't sign this because I don't understand?
I'm not sure if that's what he said. We had, obviously, conversations with Mr. Blandino are very long, so I don't
Yes.
recall everything that we discussed. We went over this document in detail. I read every single word of this document based on my prior conversations, and at the end, he chose not to sign it.
Okay. Did you have any indication after you signed this that Mr. Blandino would not follow the conditions set forth on this document?
No, I did not.
Thank you, nothing further.
Okay, Mr. Dickerson?
Sir, did you tell Mr. Blandino he did not sign the document?
No, I did not.
In fact, Mr. Blandino just decided that he wasn't going to sign it.
Correct.
And are you aware that by law, that document is required to be submitted by the defendant to the court, by the defendant to you, and then from the Division of Parole and Probation to the court pursuant to any grant of probation?
I wasn't aware that by law, he had to sign it. I've never had somebody refuse to sign a probation agreement.
Understood. Thank you very much.
In how many years?
15 years.
Okay. Anything else?
But again, you had no indication that he did not intend to follow this document, correct?
Well, it's hard for me to speculate whether he would follow the conditions or not. Whether he signs it or not, I have no indication either way whether he would follow them or not.
Okay. The fact that he didn't sign it didn't give you concern at that time. You signed it, passed it in, and that was the end of it.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, my client wants me to recall him for rebuttal. Again, I don't know
Okay, then
what.
if he wants to do that, because it's now after 1 o'clock, we'll have to continue the matter. And so, how about Monday?
Can I just check my calendar, Your Honor?
Pardon? That's what I thought. Can you guys do Monday morning at 10?
Yes, Your Honor.
I think I can. Oh,
Mr. Dickerson?
Yes, Your Honor. I should be able to make that work.
Okay, but I can excuse the officer and he does not have to come back.
Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
We release the
Thank
officer.
you very much for being here. I appreciate your willingness to be here and your testimony and your excuse and your subpoena.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And then we'll see y'all Monday morning.
Thank you.
Apologize for the.
So you're fine.